Program. My op-ed over at HartmannReport.com today was is titled "How Republicans Conspire with Churches for Political and Social Control." We're seeing this in particular in the Herschel Walker case down in Georgia. He has been making the rounds of the white evangelical churches and the Baptist churches in that state, where the pastors have been openly promoting him as a candidate for political office, which is a crime. It's against the law. It is, if these churches want to continue to force you and me to pay our taxes to subsidize their police and fire and roads and infrastructure, the things that they use so that their parishioners can get to their churches, the things that they use to keep their buildings safe from break-ins and fires, if they want to continue to force you and I to pay our taxes to subsidize them, they can get the hell out of politics. This was a law that was passed in the 1950s, 1954, if my memory serves me correct. It's called the Johnson Amendment, or at least that's what Republicans call it. And basically, it says, okay, churches, and by the way, this came out of, actually it was 1956, because this came out of the 1954 Brown versus Board of Education ruling. In 54, when Brown v. Board of Education, when the Supreme Court said that schools must be integrated if they exist in integrated neighborhoods, or even if they don't, if they're nearby, then the response to that from the right wing, Fred Koch and his buddies in the John Birch Society just started pouring tons of money into these impeach Earl Warren billboards all across the country. I remembered them as a little kid throughout the 50s. And the churches jumped into this with both feet by starting these all-white Christian academy schools as a way of getting around the laws, getting around the Brown v. Board of Education ruling. And by the way, that goes on to this day. And since then, we've seen churches, at least the white evangelical churches, increasingly involved in Republican politics, conservative politics, reactionary politics, racist politics. And I'm just saying it's time for us to stop having to pay for these guys. It's time to tax the churches. The Washington Post documented, and this was 2 years ago, documented how over 2,000 evangelical churches in America participated. Now, this was back, in 2016, I believe it was. In that election campaign, over 2,000 churches in America openly preached politics from the pulpit in defiance of the Internal Revenue Service, in a giant middle finger to the United States government and the IRS and the American taxpayer. And they got away with it. Not a single one was even audited. Well, actually, one out of those 2,000 was audited, and they were not punished. They completely got away with it. And so these churches are continuing to do this. They're making common cause with the GOP, and they're doing it with a subsidy with your and my tax dollars. And I'm just saying, this is just wrong. This is just absolutely wrong. So anyhow, if you want to see the rant and all the details behind it, it's over at HartmannReport.com. It's titled "How Republicans Conspire with Churches for Political and Social Control." I would add that, the main goal of religion, or one of the main goals of many organized religions, not all, but many, is social and political control. So it makes sense that, politicians would reach out to participate, to collaborate with churches to control people socially and politically. But, not a good idea. Not a good idea at all.